Hi everyone, welcome. FPL Matt Day here. This is the Game Week 21 live stream, all ready for the deadline, which is now in 4 hours local time here in Australia, and obviously overseas for where you are obviously listening and tuning in to this podcast. Today it's just going to be the usual on here. It's going to be myself just going through the differentials, the best differentials for this game week. So I'll have 3 of those for you, the top 5 captains, and I'll also be sharing the screen and doing a fixture review of each fixture and one player from each game that I like for game week 21. I've also got a potential special guest coming on from another podcast, so he might be tuning in at some point during this stream as well. So if he comes on, I will introduce him then. But for now, I won't say too much, just in case he doesn't come on. The time is 3 p.m. in Western Australia, which is where I am based right now. And it would be 6 p.m. in Melbourne, which is where I'm usually based. And obviously, for those that are watching in the UK, it's probably about 8 a.m. So you'll be waking up, starting your day right now, all ready for the deadline tonight. So yeah, really big night of FPL ahead. I can't wait for it. My team is all locked in. If you head into the shorts on the channel, you'll see my team is locked in. But I'm happy to share that and go through that towards the end of the stream. And we'll also be doing some live questions and answers towards the end of the stream as the questions come in the comments. But look, let's start off. We'll share screen and go through the fixtures for today. So I'm just going to present and go through the fixtures for today. And as you can see, that first game on is Liverpool versus Chelsea. It's the early game. So here where I'm based, it's going to be an 8:30 p.m. kickoff. So that's the early game in the UK. This is a really interesting game, this, because obviously Liverpool haven't been on good form this season. Chelsea haven't been on good form this season. And normally this would be, an absolute crunch class and a really, really big game, especially for FPL. We'd normally have the likes of Salah, to play for our teams in this one. Andy Robertson, Trent, those types of assets from Liverpool. But there's not too many teams with those players left at the moment. And then from a Chelsea point of view, quite a few of us doubled up on those Chelsea players when they did have the double game week. They've obviously not been on the greatest form. They did win 1-0 last week. And there's obviously a big decision to be made for most of us that have Kepa in our squads. So yeah, it's a really tricky one, this fixture. There isn't sort of anyone that kind of stands out that you really want to pick just based on the form. Darwin Núñez is back fit. I know a lot of people have disposed of him already. So yeah, he's probably not going to be someone I'd recommend right now. So yeah, it's a tricky one for FPL this. I've got Kepa, so I'm going to stick with Kepa in goal for me. I think Kepa will get the save points over Danny Ward. So Danny Ward's my other keeper. So I think for me, it's all about those save points from Kepa. I think, it's probably going to be a 1-1 or maybe a 1-0 Liverpool this. I've not really got much hope for either side. And there's not really too many recommendations. I'd probably say if you do have Salah, maybe just keep him for this game, give him another fixture, and then you'll obviously look to sell him off. But I'll go with 1-1 for now. I'll bring up some of the comments as well that have quickly come in from the viewers. The Two Blues podcast, just with the love signs there. So thanks for the comment and welcome to the stream, mate. Obviously, you are a Chelsea fan, so you'll have closer eyes on this game. Like I said, myself, I've just sold off Mount. So I've got rid of one of my Chelsea assets, and then Kepa, who is my other one, I'm going to keep and play over Danny Ward. Welcome to the stream, Daniel Capolaro, D10 Football, regular guest on the stream. Once I do get back to Melbourne, we will be linking up and doing some more FPL content for sure. So thanks for the awesome comments. Coming asking about taking hits this week, -4, -8. I'm not in my team. I'm just going to do one transfer. So I bring Solly March in, and I've taken out Mason Mount from Chelsea. So Solly March is in for me. I didn't need to take a hit from my side. I think there's a lot of people rolling their transfer this week. So I'd suggest if you've got a full lineup, There's not the best fixtures, I think, from the bigger sides this weekend, other than probably, Man City playing at home to Wolves. So I'd probably say with that Man United Arsenal game, if you can roll your transfer, roll. Otherwise, if you make one to bring in a Brighton midfielder, there's obviously Matoma, Solly March, who look really good. Or you could even bring in a Manchester United player. Or you could wait till next week with the Man United players. They've got the double game week in game week 22 now happening. But you could also provisionally bring in an Arsenal player for their game against Everton next week ready. So then you can get that transfer already in the bank. And then they've got a double game week in game week 23. And also, I know you're a big fan of Mahrez. He could be someone, if you think he's going to start against Wolves, you could get him in this week and then have him ready for next week and already booked in your team for the double game week in 23. So, yeah, it's going to be absolutely massive these next couple of weeks with double game week. So if you can get your team shaped up now, nicely for those doubles, you can really start to get ahead. And obviously, Dan's just come and said he's used his transfer. Dalot out for Burn. I'm thinking I want Mahrez and Mitoma in, Eze and Bernardo out. I actually really like the Burn transfer. I think that's brilliant. I know Man United have got the double game week next week, but I don't think Dalot has got the fitness right now, and Bissaka is on really good form. So that's a really logical move. Newcastle's defense is the best in the league. And then as for Mahrez and Mitoma, Mahrez I'm liking for game week 23, like for certain. And maybe this game week if we think he's going to play. But I do like Mitoma. And as for Eze and Bernardo out, I'd probably say Mitoma in for one of those wouldn't be the worst move. Because Mitoma does have a good set of fixtures. So if you're confident on Mitoma's returns, and that might not be a bad move, but you would probably need at least a goal, I'd say, from Mitoma for it to kind of pay itself back. And Palace do have, so we're going through the fixtures now. Palace have got, who do they play in their game this week? Oh, so we'll have to scroll down when I go through the fixtures. Let's confirm who Palace have. I've lost it on my mind now. Newcastle. So they got that tough game against Newcastle. Yeah, so Mitoma could be a good move. It could be a good move. But again, if you've got, at the same time, you probably could play Bernardo Silva instead as well, maybe just for this week rather than take the hit. But yeah, Mitoma is definitely someone I really like for FPL. So good move if you do decide to take that extra transfer. Obviously, the next game there, as you can see in the list, Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest. Again, it's not a game that kind of inspires too many people, but I think I've spoke about it all week. Nottingham Forest are defending really well at the moment. You can get the likes of Serge Aurier in. You can get the likes of Brennan Johnson in from their attack, really cheap players. And this could be a game that, for a single game week like this, you could just attack it with maybe one Forest player, because Bournemouth are just really down in the dumps at the moment. They're not getting it. They're not scoring goals. They're not getting any points on the board. Forest have really tightened it up at the back. Serge Aurier could come out and get another really strong score in this, or Brennan Johnson could come out with a couple of goals. He's had quite a few double-digit hauls lately. So, if you've just got a single game week transfer you want to do as a one-off, this could be one to target a Forest player, because, Bournemouth are on absolutely dreadful form at the moment. Then we've got the next one, Leicester versus Brighton. Leicester's another team. Anyone that's playing Leicester at the moment, I would just attack that team. So Brighton obviously got De Zerbi, phenomenal football at the moment. Brilliant to watch. He's done wonders with Solly March, putting him on the right-hand side, who I really, really like. And now he's making those diagonal runs across the defenders. He's getting in behind. Love him. I love Mitoma on the other side. I love Ferguson in the middle. McAllister in midfield. There's just so many good Brighton options at the moment. And I know a lot of people are saying, they might blank in game week 25, but it doesn't matter. Their fixtures are brilliant. They're on form. You've got to play what we can see right now. And Leicester, I'll just target anyone playing them at the moment. Haven't scored for 3 home games. No form at all. They do have Vardy coming back, but Brighton's football is just too good at the moment. There's confidence. They're playing, not just for the fans, but for their coach as well. They love him. So for me, I think Brighton are going to win this one comfortably by 2-0. And I think Mitoma or Solly March are really solid picks in this game. I think Brighton are the team to look at this week. And Leicester, they're just a team to target against in coming weeks. Whoever's playing Leicester, they are on very bad form at the moment. I've obviously lost lots of players as well. Yeah, just quickly going back to that Bournemouth Forest game. Also, I think Forest will win that by a goal, 1 or 2 goals to nil, and Sergio Aurier is my pick from that game. Matt Cowling, welcome to the stream, mate. We did just do the Liverpool-Chelsea preview. I predicted a 1-1, maybe 1-0 Liverpool in that. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Obviously, you're a big Liverpool fan. Not sure if there's any Liverpool players to really target right now in FPL. I just said if you've got Salah for this game week, you probably just keep him, give him one more week, and then you can look to move him on in future game weeks. Jacob Zinman, welcome to the stream, mate. Hope you're well. I'll go through some good strikers to pick up in the question and answer section towards the end of the podcast, which won't be too long because I'm just going to go through these fixtures, picking the score, picking a player from each game, then just my 3 differentials of my captains, and then I'll go straight into the question. So I'll be going through that. I've got some strikers that I really like for this game week too. One I will say, who I did just mention, Brennan Johnson at Forest. I actually really like him as a one-off for this game week. Welcome to the stream, mate. It's great to see you back in this week, Tino. I'm in Perth, Western Australia, so these kickoff times, as you can see, yeah, they are all over the place. So that's why I've got these kickoff times, mate. So yeah, let me know where you are in the comments as well, mate. It'd be interesting to see what your time zone is. And then we've got Southampton Villa. This is the next game. Again, Southampton on not great form either. They're obviously in the bottom 3. Did have that good win in the League Cup and a good win against Everton last week. So maybe they're coming out of that bad form. Villa are on good form. Unai Emery's doing a great job. I think I'm going to go 1-1 in this. I can't see either team winning. But I think Buendia will score for Villa. He's another player I'm loving at the moment. Also liking Ward-Prowse's form. Banging free kicks again. So yeah, I think 1-1. And they're 2 really good players to target. Probably wouldn't look anywhere else right now in those teams. Let's go on to West Ham Everton as well. Another Saturday game that just doesn't really inspire too many of us, does it? This one, both teams near the bottom. They both desperately need a win. I feel like as bad as Everton have been, I feel like West Ham's confidence is even more shot right now. I can see it, Everton. Can I? Now let's go 1-1 in this as well. I actually don't know who's going to nick this one, West Ham or Everton. And that's for an FPL point of view. I really don't know. Is there anyone worth having again from this game? I'd probably say Damari Gray. It's probably my only Everton asset I really like, to own whenever I have him, even though he can be frustrating. But yeah, 1-0 is probably not my favorite fixture or favorite FPL fixture for this week. And there's just no one from West Ham right now that I'm really liking for FPL. So that's the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the UK for the Premier League. We've got obviously the late game, which is Crystal Palace versus Newcastle, which I'll quickly preview in a second. Just the comments that have also come in. Daniel Capellaro, best kickoff times in the world, a 4 p.m. late lunch for the Friday night football. He absolutely loves it. So Daniel lives in Melbourne, but he is from Perth, so he knows all about the kickoff times over here. They are just, very good, especially that early game for Liverpool-Chelsea. Absolutely perfect. And Quentin from the FPL Amateurs of Oz, welcome to the stream, mate. He is going to come on as a guest. It's been a while since he's been on the pod, so he says he's going to try and get on for 6:40. So fingers crossed the pod is still going then. We're hoping to get some more questions in the comments. So if you are watching and you've got questions for Game Week 21, please get them in now. We will have the Q&A section towards the end. And if we are still on at around 6:40, which I should be, then we can probably go through Q's thoughts and his team as well, and his captain. But let's go down a bit further into the fixtures. As you can see there, Leeds versus Brentford. This is another really interesting game. Leeds aren't on great form this season. Brentford are on absolute fire. Definitely a striker and a player to target for this game week is Ivan Toney. So Brentford, Tony's on fire. I think it's the last 4 games he started. He's returned 2 of those 4 games have been double-digit hauls as well. and one of those hauls was a 9-point haul too. So yeah, he is their main scorer at the moment. Doesn't seem to be getting this ban that we all kind of think he's going to get. So definitely look at targeting someone like Tony. Leeds, they concede a lot of goals. 3 goals they conceded at home to Bournemouth. They're averaging, I think, conceding 2 goals a game at home. So if you do own Tony, yeah, really good option, potentially a good captain option. From a Leeds point of view, they've obviously got some top players, but yeah, I probably won't be targeting them for this game week. Maybe next week where they have this potential double with Man United, depending on how the FA Cup results go, it would then be confirmed. But I'll probably say target Brentford, and Tony is the player that I would target from this game, and I think Brentford will win this by 2-1. Now let's go to Manchester City versus Wolves. Yeah, look, City obviously beat Spurs in the week 4-2. Second half, they absolutely run riot. I think it was a bit of a warning sign to the Premier League and the top end of the Premier League, just to say that they haven't gone away, and they are still there, and they can turn it on at any moment. Wolves, on the other hand, not the highest scorers. They have won at the Etihad before, 2-0 a few years ago. Adama Traore had an absolutely brilliant game that day, but I think City will do it this weekend. I think they'll win. De Bruyne is fresh, he's rested, so he could be a big player for this week. I think City will win. I'll go with 2-0, and I think Haaland is a really good pick. De Bruyne is a good pick for this game week because he's rested. So if you've got him, you keep him. Obviously, Haaland is still always a good pick. But yeah, I think from City, they're sort of the 2 players I would look at. And maybe if you want the third asset, you could go with Ederson in goal. I feel like it's potentially a clean sheet there because Wolves do struggle to score goals. So yeah, 2-0 to City. Then we got the biggest game of the weekend in terms of the top end with where they're positioned in the table. Arsenal versus Man United. This one is, it's causing big problems for FPL managers because people don't know who to bench. Ben White, Luke Shaw, Rashford, Saliba, those types of players. So just for some context with my team, I've got Luke Shaw, I've got Rashford, I've got Eriksen, and I've got Ben White. So for me, I'm playing Rashford and I'm playing Eriksen because I always want to play midfielders. And I think both teams will score. I'm going to predict a 1-1 draw and both teams to score. So I'll go with 1-1. So for me, I'm going to play Rashford. I'm going to play Eriksen because if Rashford scores, Eriksen could assist. If Eriksen scores, Rashford could assist, and Eriksen obviously is on set pieces too. Then as for Ben White and Luke Shaw, I'm going to have to bench both of them because I'm hoping that there isn't clean sheets for either of them and there's no returns, even though they're playing at fullback. I'm just hoping they don't return. And I'm playing Lewis Dunk away at Leicester. Brighton have let me down quite a few times for a clean sheet this season whenever I've played on their players. But Leicester's set piece threat, they're really poor at defending set pieces. So Lewis Dunk, I'm hoping can maybe get me an attacking return from a corner or something. So yeah, I'm going to just hope that this game has goals and Luke Shaw and Ben White are going to be on my bench. It does, Daniel. It does, Dan. It feels like a 90s Arsenal United game, doesn't it? Like just in terms of the table, sort of playing at the top end. Like those games were just phenomenal. Back in the day when, Roy Keane, Vieira, Thierry Henry, Paul Scholes, and then there was the sort of next phase of players where there was Cristiano Ronaldo in there as well. It was absolutely brilliant fixtures. But yeah, the 90s. Yeah, some really good times and some really good games. And then we got the last fixture. We got Fulham versus Spurs. Yeah, tough on this because Fulham are a team. They're tough to beat. They're on form. They beat Chelsea at Craven Cottage not so long ago. Yeah, and as for Spurs, we're just so hit and miss at the moment. But whilst we're hit and miss, we've still got dangerous FPL assets. 2 goals against City. Kulusevski with a goal. Kane with an assist, who obviously they're 2 of probably the main players that people own right now. So you definitely keep them if you own them. Kane's going to be in my list of captains, which I'll go through shortly. So if you've got, Kane, he's definitely a captain option. Ridiculous record against Fulham. He's scored in the reverse fixture, has a great record against them, but they are a good side. They're a very good side. It's going to be a tricky game. I think I've said to a few people that have asked me my thoughts on Spurs this weekend. What's their kind of ceiling for how many goals they can score in this. You just never know what Spurs is going to turn up. But I sort of said like max maybe 2 goals. If we're going to win, it will be sort of 2-1. But at the same time, he let a lot of goals in, so it could easily sort of be a 2-2 type of game too. So yeah, I'd still say Harry Kane is sort of the pick for this one with Kulusevski. I think they're probably the best FPL picks from this fixture this week. Mitrovic has had a couple of bad weeks. Could be worth keeping him for this because the Spurs defense is just awful right now, letting in goals. And Mitrovic just has that knack of terrorizing defenses, and he can easily do a number on Spurs. But I know a lot of people have sold him this week. But even if you've got him, I'd probably say just keep him, and then you can sort of roll your transfer. But I'll go with 2-2. I'll go with 2-2 in this game. But yeah, I just can't pick us to win at the moment because we're just not on good enough form. So that's the fixture review. That's all my scores and my favourite players from each game. What I'll do now is I'm just going to pick my 3 differentials. Then I'll go with my top 5 captains. And then I'll go through any questions that do get asked. At the moment, we've just got that one question from Jacob. Obviously, with the time of this deadline stream, I'm not expecting a huge amount of people to come in with questions. Normally, I like to do these deadline streams within sort of an hour before deadline, but I sort of haven't been able to do that today with the timing. So if you are just coming into the stream now, please ask as many questions in the comments because we're going to do the Q&A in the next sort of 5 minutes time. And we also want to get as many questions in, help as many managers in the comments as possible. Also, if you can just take a quick moment, just 5 seconds of your day to like this video, please. Really appreciate all the likes. If you are new here, please subscribe. And like I said, get your comments in ready for the Game Week 21 deadline. I'll quickly go through my 3 differentials now. Let's start. 2 of them are midfielders. One of them is going to be the one I mentioned in my fixtures. Solly March playing against Leicester for Brighton, who are just on absolute fire, 5.1% owned. It's been getting double-digit scores for fun. I don't think the streak is going to end. I think it's going to continue. With De Zerbi, the way he plays football, the way Brighton are playing football, the way he's now transitioned into this right-sided attacker, whereas before he was playing on the left-hand side and his job was very direct on the left-hand side. He'd just sort of get down to the byline, cross the ball in. But now he's on this right-hand side. Yeah, he looks like a completely different player. He's taking players on. He's getting shots on goal. He's making assists. So Solly March, 5.1%. I know there's this potential blank game week for Brighton in game week 25, but I just think you've got to put that to the back of your mind. Solly March is on fire. I think he's going to score again tonight. So he's my first differential. Ori is my second one. I know I've mentioned him a few times. 1.3%. Bournemouth looking poor. Solanke's not fit. They're not scoring goals. His bonus points, phenomenal at the moment because he's getting on the ball a lot. He's also attacking. So he did get that 10-point haul against Chelsea and he did score in that game and they let in a goal and he still got 10 points. Serge Aurier, 1.3%. Really good sort of 3-week player to pick because they've got 3 really nice fixtures coming up. And then my third one is going to be Buendia, the Argentinian, at 0.5% owned. And the good thing about Buendia is Villa are on form. Unai Emery has got them playing really good football at the moment. They've got Southampton away, who have been struggling in the relegation zone. Buendia's got 2 really good fixtures back to back. Then he's got 2 tough fixtures, Man City and Arsenal. Just bench him for that. And then when there is blanks in game week 25, Villa aren't the ones blanking. So you can play Buendia and he's got a really good run from there onwards. So 0.5%. Buendia, 2 double-digit returns in 3 games. That is my third differential. I've actually had some comments come in from PSB, Quinton. Dan's also put a comment and Leela has also come in with a comment too. So I will go through the questions that have come through. What I'll quickly bring up is before I go through my captains, I'm just going to bring up Dan's comment. Hearing what I say about Shaw White, I've got Mitrovic as well. I might bench White for Mitro and go with Cancelo, Burn and Trippier. Well, for me, I've gone with Trippier. He's a guarantee. If I had the second Newcastle defender, I'd play the second Newcastle defender as well. And then Cancelo, I'm starting Cancelo too, because he didn't play in the week against Spurs. And I'm just really hoping a fresh Cancelo plays on Sunday for Man City against Wolves. And you're looking at a Wolves team who don't score many goals. Cancelo in the Man United game the other week was actually really, really strong on the ball. He looked good, was getting forward, was dangerous. Obviously, we're not going to go through that offside decision again, but we all know that decision, if that didn't happen and City had seen the game out at 1-0, Cancelo would have had a clean sheet and maybe some bonus points. Probably be thinking differently about those that are looking to sell him this game week. But I'm going to play Cancelo. I'm hoping this is the game week that Cancelo gets all those points that we were supposed to get from him since the restart. But we will see. And as for Mitro, I think I was saying it before, the Spurs defence is woeful. We conceded 2 goals per game for a number of weeks now. He is the typical type of player that will grab a goal against us. And he's on pens. But I know we've had some bad moments with him as a pen taker this season. But yeah, you've got some good options. And that one thing that says about your team is you've got a good squad. You'd rather have the options on your bench than not have the options. And Q's just come in saying, good captaincy this week, Matt. And this is Q's top 3 captains. So we're going to go through my top 5 captains, and we'll see how his captains compare to mine. So his number 1 is Erling Haaland. My number 1 is Erling Haaland. So we're both on 1 for 1. His number 2 is Harry Kane. My number 2 is Kevin De Bruyne. And I know a lot of people who watch the streams or follow some of my content on Twitter have been calling him Kevin De Fraud, but it's not because obviously he's a world-class player, but it's just more from an FPL point of view. He's not been getting the points. But I'm putting him number 2 because his record against Wolves is exceptional. He got a rest in the week. And because of that, I actually think De Bruyne and Man City, there's just something about Man City in that second half against Spurs where the fire was back in their belly. And I think they're going to come out and win this game against Wolves. I said 2-0, so I think 2-0. Haaland with a couple of goals, but De Bruyne will assist a couple, or at least maybe score 1 and assist 1. So I think De Bruyne's still second option for me. I think City have the best game from the top sides, along with Newcastle. Number 3 is Tony, Ivan Toney for me. Quinton's gone Solly March, who I said I think is a really good pick this week. But for captain, I think Tony 3. Leeds, like I said, they conceded 3 at home to Bournemouth. There's been numerous other games they've conceded 2 goals, 3 goals at home. Tony's on pens as well, so really liking Ivan Toney. Number 4 is where I'm putting Harry Kane, which is probably a bit of a surprise to a lot of people because obviously I love Harry Kane. I'm a Spurs fan, but yeah, I just think the other 3 players above him are in teams that they're just, even Man City, obviously they beat us 4-2. Even Brentford, they're just playing better at the moment. I feel like I can rely on those players and those teams more than Spurs at the moment, which is why Kane comes in at 4. Still a great captain option for this week. Brilliant captain option. And then number 5, who nearly was number 4, is Trippier away at Palace. And the one thing about Trippier that I like this week is Palace haven't been on great form, haven't been scoring many goals. Newcastle's defence is ridiculous. Is it 6 clean sheets in a row? And Trippier hasn't yet. It's been a while, hasn't it? So I think it was Man City where he got that free kick. It's been a while since he scored a free kick. He is due another free kick goal or another assist. And yeah, he's a really good captain as well. So that's my top 5 captains. Let me know what you think of those captains in the comments. It's good to see we've got a few more watchers now in the stream. So if you can please just take a moment to like the stream, subscribe if you're new, and get your questions in because now it's the live Q&A. So pretty much now is the time where I'm just going to sit here and go through everyone's questions in the comments that has been asked. So please don't be afraid to ask your questions and I'll go through each one. And there's also a lot of very good FPL managers in the comments that can also sort of come in and give their thoughts too. And we can all help each other out for the deadline, which is in a few hours. Welcome to the stream, Diggs, as well. I hope you're good, mate. If you've got any questions for Game Week 21, please ask them in the comments now, mate. But let's go through. I'm going to go through Jacob's earlier comment. He asked, good strikers to pick up for Game Week 21. Number 1 is Tony for me. Ivan Toney. Every game he's played since the restart, he's hit pointing. Then before the restart, double-digit haul against Man City. Tony is number one this week. Leeds away. I mentioned it before, the amount of goals they concede at home. Yeah, you can't look past Tony for me. I think he's a great striker to pick up for this game week. I'm liking Brennan Johnson at Nottingham Forest away at Bournemouth. Huge differential, cheap third striker. And you can just have him for the game week if you can afford to transfer him out next week. I think Forest will win that game by at least a couple of goals. Bournemouth is like a mess right now. So that is a couple of strikers I really, really like. And they're not going to cost you huge amounts either. Let's go through some more questions. PSB, here he is. Welcome to the stream, mate. It's great to have you in here. All ready for the deadline. He's asked me, hey, mate, how am I doing? I'm good. I'm very good, mate. I'm looking forward to tonight's games, today's games, depending on where you are in the world. I think it's a good week to mix it up with captain. So he's asked, is this the best week to bet against Haaland captaincy? I think it's a good week to go with another captain because there's no standout. Like Haaland doesn't stand out where you look at it and you think he's a complete must captain. But at the same time, I still think it's a good game for Haaland with a fresh De Bruyne. Because what we've got to remember is when Haaland was getting doubles, hat-tricks, everything was being fed through Kevin De Bruyne. We haven't seen that lately because De Bruyne just hasn't been on his game. He's looked tired. He's looked lethargic. He's had a week off. I feel like we might get angry De Bruyne on Sunday where he's angry and he comes out and, you know, we could see the De Bruyne we're kind of used to seeing, especially against Wolves, the team he got 4 goals against last season. So, yes, you can go against Haaland, I think, with the likes of Tony, Harry Kane, even De Bruyne. But I also, I don't think it's a must have to captain Haaland. But so I think, to answer your question, I think you can go against him. I don't think there's, I don't think it's the worst week to go against him, but I still think Haaland's going to score. I still think he grabs at least a goal with some bonus. And that's just my sort of thoughts is I can't see him getting a 2-pointer, not against Wolves at home. Quentin's just come in as well with some differentials. So he said his differential is Solly March. So I had the same one as well. He's my transfer this week, so I bring Solly March in for Mason Mount. At number 2, Evan Ferguson, who is the Brighton striker. Good differential, great fixture against Leicester. 3, Jack Harrison. That's an interesting one against Brentford. That's a curveball differential. So, yeah, very, very interesting from Q. I like those picks. Leela in the streams just asked, Kulusevski or Martinelli? That is tough. I'm going to try and not going to be biased. Obviously, I'm a Spurs fan, so I'll take any bias aside where I can, but I'd still pick Kulusevski because I still think there is a chance of it being a more open game of football than Arsenal versus Man United. Arsenal-Man United can feel being quite cagey at 1-1. And I think I said with the Spurs-Fulham game, I predicted 2-2. So I'll be going Kulusevski. He looked sharp against City. He was taking his fullback on. He scored a goal. I really like Martinelli as well, but I think if it's between the two and that's your options, I'd pick Kulusevski for this game week. But yeah, and Quentin's actually coming. He said Kulu as well. So we've got a couple of people that think Kulu. And then Dan has just come in and said he needs about 30 points from the restart. So we are talking about Cancelo. So before I said Cancelo needs to get a big score against Wolves this game week to make up for all of the points that we've missed out on him. So Dan thinks it should be 30 points. Yeah, he's probably not wrong. We would love a Cancelo goal, clean sheet and bonus for this game week. PSB has come in. He has asked, do I think Pep rests Haaland and plays Julian Alvarez up top versus Wolves to save him for Arsenal in the FA Cup tie? And then they have Spurs away. Does Haaland miss out this game? Nah, not for me, mate. I think for Pep, the Premier League is the most important competition. Haaland will play, in my opinion, Haaland will play against Wolves. Maybe they'll bring him off if the game's won with 20 minutes to go, something like that. You know, Pep could potentially afford to do that. Might play both of them. But I think Alvarez then plays the Arsenal game from the start in the FA Cup. I think Pep will play like an FA Cup type of team. I know the FA Cup's a chance for City to win a trophy, but for them, the Premier League and the Champions League are the biggest competitions for them. And I think they're going to want to come out and win this game because it's before Man United play Arsenal or Arsenal Man United at the Emirates later on that day. And I think City are going to want to put a bit of a statement on Sunday and, win that game 2-3-0, big performance. It'll be a bit of a statement win, in my opinion. Hopefully, I'm right, but you can't second guess Pep. Q's just come and said Trippier hit the post last week as well. So there you go. Yeah, Trippier, phenomenal season. Good captain option this week, like we've all mentioned. And thanks, mate. Welcome to the stream. Q's just come and said thoughts on Jack Harrison. Yeah, Leeds just aren't doing it for me, mate. I've always loved him as a player, and he's had great times in FPL. I think if I was to pick any Leeds player right now, it's still Rodrigo. Yeah, Rodrigo. On pens as well, I think, isn't he, mate? So for me, it's always going to be Rodrigo right now. Welcome to the stream, mate. Charles is in the stream, and he has come in with Kepa Award, which is a better pick. I'm going to say, I'm going with Kepa. They're my two keepers, and I'm going with Kepa purely because Ward, Leicester are just woeful at the moment. Really bad form. I know Chelsea haven't been on great form, neither are Liverpool, but Brighton's form, if you pick up from those four teams, those two fixtures from the four clubs, Brighton are on the best form. So I don't want to pick a goalkeeper playing against Brighton. And then Kepa, even if he does concede at Anfield, I'm feeling maybe a 1-0 Liverpool. I can see him making quite a few saves. So I'm going to go with Kepa. I think he's the better pick. Probably there's going to be people that disagree, but I've changed to Kepa. Quinton's just coming back in. Evan Ferguson, I want a enabler who will score points, but Tony is a top pick, like Matt said. Yeah, Evan Ferguson, so good for his price right now in a team that's playing good football, winning games, scoring goals, and has good fixtures. And Jacob just giving Q the thanks. Oh, mate, my rank is a mess this season. I think it's up in the 2 mil. So last year I had a really good season. Great end to the season. And then this year I got done early on because I had Haaland, right, for the first 2 weeks. And then I don't know what come over me. And I thought De Bruyne was going to be the better pick. So I moved Haaland on, started captaining De Bruyne, and Haaland went back-to-back hat-tricks and got that third hat-trick. And I was just too toothless to take the -4 and bring in Haaland and take out De Bruyne. And if I'd done it, I lost about 80 points at that time from all those Haaland hauls. But even so, it's been one of those strange seasons. I follow a lot of the like FPL as Mark Suddens, who absolute legend of FPL, and they're having pretty bad seasons. It just seems to be the way. Even a lot of good players and a lot of the mini leagues I'm in are just really struggling this year. It's a really strange year. So for me now, it's just about just enjoying the game and picking differentials every week. But I got a nice big green arrow last week where I was able to, I think I got about 82 points, and that was with a -8, so I got 90 points. So hopefully, I'm hoping just to keep moving up and just enjoying the game as the season goes on, mate. But thanks for coming in the stream, IBK. Legend, good channel. I think you do. Is it are you the FPL Sandwich podcast, mate? I think it could be yourself because I've watched it a few times. I'm pretty sure. Is that your second account? Charles has just come in and asked, I've Mason Mount, should I save a transfer or use it? Mate, I bring March in. I was in your exact position. Okay, so I was in your exact position and I was like, do I just keep Mount, put him on the bench, or play him against Liverpool? Thing is, Mason Mount is an FPL troll. So what's going to happen is Mason Mount is going to score at Anfield and he's going to troll us. But I just didn't want him anymore. I've never liked owning Mason Mount in FPL unless he's playing against a newly promoted team. And they were exactly the two options I was looking at, Odegaard or March. I just looked at March's form. I rewatched the Brighton game last week against Liverpool, and I was like, I'm bringing March in. Brighton are too hot right now. Ødegaard can come in next week, probably for Kulusevski for me next week. So I just thought I'd wait one more week. Ødegaard's on fire at the moment though, but yeah, I'm liking March, mate. Obviously, just went through that. I've had an absolute mud season so far. I'm hearing he's back. So I was on Fox's Talk, which is one of the Leicester forums, one of their main forums. And they actually reckon James Maddison is back in training and he could play, which obviously does help Leicester. But whether or not he starts is another thing, right? They're a better team with Maddison and Vardy. And IBK has just come into the comments, and he's just asked, "Let's see your team." I'll read it to you because I haven't got the. Actually, I might better share it. Let's share it. See if it lets me share. I've only got one screen today, so it's a bit of a pain to share my team. But let's try and bring it up here. So I'm going to bring up my side for this game week. All right. It's going to be very zoomed in, so I apologize, everyone, but it is going to be very zoomed in. So here's my team. You can also see this team. My team is locked in. So on my shorts, I've got a YouTube short with my locked in team as well. So go check out that short, give it a like and a comment, and just rate my team in there. Let me know what you think. But here it is for this week. So I've got Kepa in goal over Ward. He's expected to get 4.5 points, which I think is quite generous for Kepa, to be honest. Cancelo, 1.6 expected points. If he starts, I think he's going to get a clean sheet and maybe some bonus. Hopefully, this is the week for Cancelo. Trippier, obviously got 9.2 expected points. Lewis Dunk, I'm playing, and as you can see down here, I am playing him over White and Shaw. So I've decided that because Leicester haven't scored in 3 home games, I'm hoping that the Man United Arsenal game is the 1-1, like I predicted. No attacking returns for those defenders, and then I've gone with Lewis Dunk. Also, Brighton, Leicester are very vulnerable from set pieces, and Lewis Dunk's about 6'5", so I'm hoping it could be a week where he does something. But I'm having bad luck with Brighton defenders this season. So last time I played Dunk, 92nd minute goal for Everton from a pen, and it cost me. And I had Ben White on the bench that week. And then I've got Eriksen. I'm going to play him over Shaw. I like to play my attacking players over defenders, even if they are fullbacks like Luke Shaw. Eriksen's really been catching my eye lately. I did bring him in last week for the double game week, and he got 8 points on free kicks, on corners. Rashford as well. I'm not dropping him. He is on fire, so not someone I want to drop. Expected to get 7.3 points, as you can see there. Kulusevski got the goal at City. He's a player when he's fit and he's ready. He picks up points, goals, assists, and he's got a really good points to games ratio when he is fit for Spurs since he joined last January. And then Solly March, he's got 11 expected points, which is mental, but he's on fire. So he is my transfer in for Mason Mount. And then front three, Haaland, so captain's armband and Haaland. He's got 13.6 expected points. So you can double that as captain. So they're expecting to get at least 2 goals. Tony away at Leeds. He's another pick. Like I said, he's my 3rd favourite captain pick this week. And then my man Harry Kane is there. So last week I took the -8 and I brought Eriksen in, Tony in and Kane in. And it worked out. So I gained some points. And that was kind of just because I wanted to build my team for the next few game weeks. And I'm liking that front 3 for this week. And then, like I said, I've got Ward as my keeper, as my number 2 keeper, Shaw and White, because I'm just banking on hopefully that game being 1-1. If it's 0-0, then I'm in a bit of trouble. But I'm used to benching Ben White and feeling awful for doing it. And then Andreas is my number 3 this week. So that is my team for this game week. Let's go through some more of the questions and comments that have come in. So if you are new here and you've just started tuning in, then please get your questions in now. Like the stream and subscribe if you're new here. We've actually got a guest about to come into the stream, actually. So I'm going to bring him in. Oh, he's joined. Quinton is here from the FPL Amateurs of Oz. How are you going, Q? He's in the stream. I don't think he's aware that he's joined himself into the stream. We'll wait for him to come in. How you going, mate? Can you hear me?
Good, mate. How are you? Yeah, sorry, I was trying to fix stuff here.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So Q's in the stream. He's from the FPL Amateurs of Oz podcast. He's in his Man United shirt. So what we'll do in a second, I'll bring up a couple more comments just to go through it. And then I want to get Q's thoughts on the Man United Arsenal game. And Q will give us his thoughts on score prediction and also what to do with Luke Shaw and Ben White if you've got that problem. So it'd be good to get Q's thoughts because obviously he's a Man United shirt, Man United fan, and he's wearing that very nice Manchester United green shirt, isn't you, Q? All right, I'll go through a couple of comments.
Then it does.
Yeah, it's a very random kit. So IBK Max, I agree. The Premier League is the priority for Pep. So Haaland will play. Jack Harrison plays NPL, doesn't he? So NPL is a local league here in Australia. IBK, so which players do you reckon score the most points this week? I'll go for a couple and then Q will get your thoughts. I reckon Tony, Haaland, and Solly March. Q?
I'm actually going to say Rashford against Arsenal. I just have a feeling.
Is that because you got the Man United kit on?
I have a feeling that that game is going to be actually quite a high-scoring game. I think in my prediction, I'm going to go 2-2. But yeah, I think Rashford this week, I could see him getting a goal and an assist and then getting some bonus. But I like Solly March this week. I think he's going to have a massive week.
No, good stuff. So with the Man United game, you obviously think it's going to be high scoring. So with that in mind, what would you do with Ben White and what would you do with Luke Shaw? So if you've got both of them and you have to play one of them, who would you pick? If you had an alternative option and you could potentially bench two of them, would you then bench them? So what are your thoughts? Because a lot of people have Saliba, Luke Shaw, Ben White, Luke Shaw, and a lot of them are picking Ben White because it's an Arsenal home game. So what are your thoughts?
I think if it's choosing between Ben White and Shaw, I think you go with Shaw because for me, I don't think either side's going to keep a clean sheet. I think there's going to be goals, but I think Shaw has the better attacking upside. And we saw last week, there's a couple of times where he found himself in the box and he had a shot, or he's putting balls into the box for the likes of Rashford. And yeah, I just think, and also there's going to be a period in this game they're going to put the workhorse on, and we saw what happened when they have him on. They just put balls into the box and non-stop, just trying to get headers. So I think for me, Shaw has attacking upside. I think if you have an opportunity to not play any of the assets, I'd go with that option. But if you are stuck between one or the other, I think Shaw, for me, probably has the more upside just with the attacking side of things.
I think so as well. The one thing about Ben White that some people have said could be an advantage is if the game does play out into sort of like Arsenal winning 1-0 or it's, with sort of 60 minutes, then they might bring Ben White off for Tomiyasu and then United then potentially score late on. That's the other thing. But then I guess, if you're benching Ben White, you just got to hope that United score early and, who knows? The clean sheets could be gone by half time. Like you said, it could be a really good game and it could be 1-1, 2-2. We've seen this down the years with Man United Arsenal. There's just been some cracking games. So, Q thinks Luke Shaw over White. And to be honest, like if I was, I'm playing Eriksen over all of them because I just want to play Eriksen because of his set pieces. But I think if I didn't have Eriksen and I had like a midfielder I didn't want to play, I'd probably play Luke Shaw as well. So, I agree on that one. And IBK was just going back to the Kepa versus Ward, saying Chelsea defence greater than Leicester defence. Q, what do you think on the Ward versus Kepa debate?
It's a difficult one because if Liverpool are firing, they're either going to be scoring goals, or if it's Nunez, he's going to have 10 shots at Kepa and score none, and Kepa's going to have like 1 million save points. Whereas Ward is going to be in a similar predicament where he's going to get the opportunity to make saves. But I think Brighton, the way they're playing at the moment, I would just bank them actually finishing their chances compared to Liverpool. So I think Kepa, Kepa probably takes it out just, but I think both teams are in the same predicament. It's just Brighton are red hot, and a lot of their chances also come inside the box. So it's like really high percentage chances compared to Liverpool, who are kind of taking pot shots from the edge of the box, or they've got Núñez, so which is pretty much like taking pot shots from the edge of the box.
Yeah, look, I'm playing Kepa, and I think IBK's right as well. Q's right. Liverpool, they're not themselves, and Núñez is getting a lot of shots on goal, and like you said, Kepa could end up with a lot of saves. So, I think that's fine. We've also got a dog on the stream today, which is cool. I've just noticed Q's dog is in the background, and we've got a dog on the stream. So happy days. It's good to makes his debut on the stream. And then this was Q's comment where he said Harrison.
Oh, sorry. You need to read the next one.
So Q, you said Harrison's one of your differentials this week. So that Harrison, 3 big chances created, 7 chances created, 6 shots in his last 2 games, seems to always be involved without FPL returns. So are you liking him because of the Brentford fixture, or because there's a potential, obviously, that double game week next week? Or
I don't mind the Brentford fixture this week, but I think you can get a few weeks out of Harrison. And the games that I've been watching of Leeds lately, every time someone's in the box making that run, it always seems to be Harrison getting the ball, and he can't get the shot off, so he has to lay it off to someone. But he's just in good positions all the time. And the last 2 games, he's just been immense. And I think he had 2 assists in their cup game the other day, as well as 3 chances created. And I think he had like 4 or 5 shots as well. So,
interesting pick.
Yeah, I don't really like Leeds that much, but the last few games, they have been creating a lot of chances. And I think I spoke to you in our group chat. With the people moving towards Odegaard and a few other picks, they're starting to get highly owned. So you need to try get on this next player that's lowly owned that you might get 3 good weeks out of before other people decide to move towards them. And I think, Solly March this week is one of those picks. And I also think Matoma, and I think Jack Harrison could be one of those picks as well.
Yeah, it's a good point about Leeds, because the Brentford game this week, and then less match at the double game week 22, Man United will play back-to-back home games against Leeds and Palace. Leeds will play Forest and Man United. But obviously, if one of those 2 teams draws in the FA Cup, that double game week won't happen. But Leeds Man United is traditionally a really open game of football as well, which does give the upside to owning a Leeds attacking player next week. So it could be Jack Harrison, like Q mentioned, or Rodrigo. IBK has just come also asked, which team do I support? I am a Spurs fan, mate. So, bit of an up and down patch of form in the last, I'd say 10 game weeks. It's been pretty crazy. And obviously with the City game, obviously you can see Q there is a Man United fan. I think you're a Liverpool fan, aren't you, IBK? You're a Liverpool fan. Daniel Capillaro saying Jack Harrison is class, a Razzlist. And IBK is from the FPL Sandwich podcast as well. So go and check them out on YouTube. I had a feeling it was him because I watched one of his streams the other week. So there we go.
Matty, I've got a bit of history for you in the Leeds and Manchester fixture. So the last 3 games, there's been 20 goals. Last 4 games has been 20 goals.
Okay.
So an average.
And how many for Leeds?
Leeds have scored 5 goals in their last 4 games against United.
Okay. So they've scored at least. Man United's upside against Leeds is huge.
Yeah, 4-2, 5-1, 6-2.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, definitely. I think if you're going to, it is possibly worth looking at getting on a Leeds player for this double game week next week, knowing how open that Leeds Man United fixture is as well. So yeah, some good facts there from Q with a number of goals.
Also, another fact here, people that are considering Fernandez in that double next, if they get it against Leeds and Palace, the last 3 games, he has scored 7 goals.
Okay. Yeah, he's brilliant against Leeds. I remember the Solskjaer season and United beat Leeds 6-2 and Fernandez had a ridiculous FPL score that day. So yeah, I think Bruno's going to be popular next week. Just some more comments. This was Q, who's obviously now in the stream, just saying that we're together on the note. Yeah, we both screwed up by not having Haaland early on in the season, which was a nightmare. IBK just saying it seems like March is the new Almiron. That's what I'm hoping. And that's what Q's hoping as well. We've both transferred March in this week. Official DL Origin Football, mate, welcome to the stream. It's great to finally see you in a stream. Obviously follow a lot of your content as well. So yeah, great to have you in here. And he's even prayed to come to watch the stream, and he's so happy today. So it's it's great to have comments like that. What a legend he is. So yeah, if you are new watching here today, go and hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, get your questions in, and also give Quinton a follow. His handle is right there on the screen at FPL Amateurs of Oz. And you're on Twitter, Q, and you're on Instagram these days as well.
Yeah, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, but the biggest probably bit of traffic I see is probably Twitter.
Twitter, yeah. Okay, cool. And then Sean, Odegaard or Martinelli? For me, it's Odegaard. Q?
Yeah, Odegaard, I think, of the set piece threat, as well as those late runs that he makes into the box where Martinelli and Saka sort of cut that ball back. I think, a lot more upside.
And he can shoot from outside the box as well.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, he's ridiculous at the moment. Definitely Odegaard. IBK agrees Odegaard as well. And then Q did have another comment prior to coming on the stream where he just mentioned about March being good all season. It wasn't getting the returns like he is now. Definitely a player that is lowly owned, so you might get 2 to 3 good weeks out of him until he is highly owned. I think so, because he's 5.1% owned right now, which is nothing. I think he's going to score again against Leicester. Next week's the Bournemouth game. I can see him returning in that as well. I think I mentioned it earlier when I was going through Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest. Like Bournemouth just look toothless. Like they're ready to go down right now, which is a shame. I know FPL Commander watches a lot of these streams, and he's a big Bournemouth fan, but they just look ready to go down. They obviously haven't even hired a coach, and they're just sticking with Gary O'Neill. So that's who Brighton play next week.
Oh,
so
Matty, I've got some Solly March and Matoma stats that I've got
go for it.
I've got a thread about to
March
put up
versus
tonight.
Matoma. Okay.
Yeah, so at the moment, with March, their last 4 games. Since the restart, so he's had 8 chances created, 3 big chances created, 10 shots with 100% strike rate with his shots. So they've all been on target with 3 goals, 1 assist, compared to Matoma, who has 13 shots, only 9 from 13 on target, only has 2 goals and 1 chance created. So Matoma's looks incredible.
He's looked
but
brilliant.
For me, I think Solly March is looking like the more advanced player and the one that looks like he's going to get returns consistently. But I think both are good options, though.
It's an interesting one because a few weeks ago, I would have said Matoma, but now because March has had this run of goals and he's looking like the one that's putting the ball in the back of the net, it's now March. But yeah, good stats and they're so close in price. I just think you can pick either of them. Obviously, we just had a comment that just did come in and just said Matoma is 2.6% owned, expected ownership fantasy yard sale. So yeah, he is liking Matoma. I think I've obviously gone March. I just think, I think it's a left foot that sold me. I'm a left footer, so it just sold me that he was on the left foot. So that's my criteria for picking Solly March. Q's obviously got his stats there, which is why he's picked him. PSB.
I picked him eye test first, though.
And eye test as well. Eye test and then stats. Yeah. Yeah. Q is an eye test player as well.
I think I told you I was talking like peak Messi type in our group chat and kind of had to give myself a cold shower because I was getting a bit overwhelmed.
Yeah, he does look good though, March. Let's go through some more questions. Like I said, if you've just tuned in, please just get your questions in now. This is the live Q&A, and I've also got Q in the stream here to help me now. So you're going to get 2 answers, and they're probably we could end up with different answers too. So it's only going to confuse everyone. But please get your questions in. You get 2 different opinions actually, so we'll help you more. PSB, do you think Akanji is nailed in that City back line? No, and I'll tell you why. Diaz is back in the squad. Ruben Diaz and Stones were back in the squad against Spurs the other night. So we're back. And then, I don't think he's nailed. I don't think he's nailed at all. Not now. Maybe he might play this weekend, but not now Diaz is fit. What do you reckon, Q?
If I was picking the side, I would say yes. But like you said, Diaz is back. Stones is back. Even Laporte
can play there,
as well,
and then they might put Cancelo left back or Lewis left back.
Yeah, and I'm sick of trying to work out what Pep's doing as well. Like you think you got it right, and then the next week he just proves you wrong.
Yeah, he's a nightmare. I also forgot about Laporte. So, yeah, that's why, in my opinion, I think Q's right. There's Laporte, there's Ake, there's Stones, there's Diaz. Yeah, and we've got the Champions League coming up too. FA Cup, so many games. Don't think anyone is. I think what we could end up seeing for the run-in for City is they'll pick two centre-backs, probably Laporte and Diaz, or Diaz and Stones for the league, and then two centre-backs for the FA Cup. And then two centre backs for the Champions League, and I think that's what we might potentially see. So, I don't think he is, mate, personally, and neither does Q. Dan, question from Dan for you, Q. I want thoughts on hits. Eze is currently on my bench. Shall I take him up for a -4 for Mitoma?
If you're going to play Mitoma this week, I think you could make that back this week because I don't think Eze is going to return this week. So you're looking at 2 points from Eze, whereas Mitoma could easily get an assist this week. So you make your points back this week, plus the Bournemouth fixture next week. I think if you're going to play him, 100%, I think at -4 you can make that back easy.
Yeah, and I think as well, like the good thing, sometimes you just have to bite the bullet, take that -4. Like you said, if he returns this week, it pays itself back anyway. And plus, it kind of builds your squad up, puts it in a nice position. Kind of like the -8 I did last week. Tony and Kane coming in as part of it is now made my team look so much fresher for this week. And I kind of went through the pain of the hit, and now it looks really good. Arjun, welcome to the stream, mate. He thinks De Bruyne will get the most points this week. What do you reckon on that, Q?
I'm hearing rumours that there's been some personal issues going on with De Bruyne, and he may not even play this week.
That would be huge.
I'm not sure, but apparently, because they said when they were behind on the weekend, he didn't even come off the bench. Like you think if he was right to play, Pep would have brought him off the bench when they were down 2-0, or
True.
I don't know. Might be thinking about too much, but
point.
I've heard rumours that apparently there might be something going on outside of football for Kevin De Bruyne, and that's why he didn't play. But yeah,
I wonder if obviously Pep did talk about the players not having the motivation or the will to want to win the league title so much. So some players weren't as motivated, and we've seen Foden get dropped consistently since the restart. Now obviously Cancelo, De Bruyne. So yeah, it's an interesting one. De Bruyne kind of did look pretty fed up at the World Cup with Belgium. Some of his comments weren't great. They went out, and it's kind of just like hung over him since returning for City, and he's just not looked good. So who knows? I've put him as number 2 captain option this week in my list because of
if
the fact if he plays, because it was Wolves, and I just remember those 4 goals when I captained him last year, and I know it was away from home in that one, but it was just phenomenal. And I kind of look at City thinking they will come out firing to prove a point before Arsenal play against Man United later on that day. But Arjun thinks De Bruyne, but Q is just coming with a bit of a curveball that it's not sure on De Bruyne.
Yeah, there's a little bit. Yeah, I've heard just a couple of things on Twitter, like, Twitter's like the, pick and choose what's truth and what's rumors. But it'd probably, if I had to pick between the two and I had both assets, I'd maybe lean towards Haaland in that fixture just for that reason, not because KDB isn't good. Because I think if KDB does play, I think he could go massive. But
true, I prefer Haaland out of the two as well for this week. Welcome to the stream. Onto the ball. It is Saturday, and obviously the first game is big for you because you're a Liverpool fan against Chelsea.
Come on, Liverpool.
Q wants a Liverpool win. Q wants a Liverpool win. He's in his Man United shirt and he wants a Liverpool win. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, mate. On is there any Liverpool players to look out for this fixture? Is there anyone that we're missing out on? I think Q's saying come on Liverpool. Do you own a couple of Liverpool players in your team too?
Yeah, I've got Salah and Robertson, and I was just having a look. Salah last 2 games against Chelsea has 2 goals, so I'm banking on some Salah magic.
Awesome. Yeah, I did say if you own Salah, then you just keep him for this week because then you can, he's got that record against Chelsea. You can just keep him for another week, and then next week's an easy move out to like Bruno Fernandes if Man United's double. ends up going ahead. Jacob's just asking, could Isaac be a good option this match day? It's a tough one with Isaac because he looks good. Like when he played in last game week, and he obviously returned and he looks good. But I did sort of read they may St. Maximum as well, as they reckon he might start. But will it be St. Maximum, Isaac and Wilson, or will Isaac miss out? It's a tough one. If he starts, he's a very good option because Palace is a game that he'd be capable of scoring a couple of goals. He's someone, if he never got that injury, I think would be kind of like our Ivan Toney right now, where we would have a lot more people owning him because I think he would have scored a lot of goals. But yeah, what do you think on Isaac for this game away at Palace?
I actually have him on my thread that I'm going to put up in about the next 30 minutes. I have him as a differential this week. I think he's a good option. I thought he got into some good positions. He played off Wilson because they kept Wilson on the field, and I think they took off Willick and then played them both together. So, and then I also saw something in the news in the last few days about Joe Linton, something going on there that he might not be playing this week. Something outside of football. I don't think it's a football-related issue. I think, yes, something. Trying to think of what the matter was, but yeah, there's a chance that he might not play this week. So that means that either Isak plays or St. Max could play, and then Isak could still come on, at halftime. So
yeah, I think the more I think about it with Isaac is he's a big money signing for him. So, and he's fit now and he's good to go. So maybe they do give him those minutes. So yeah, interesting one. I'll just quickly bring out some comments from Jermaine in a second. If you are watching the stream, we've got quite a few watchers in, which is great. Thanks for coming in. Get your questions in. This is the Q&A section of the podcast. We've gone through every question that's come in so far. Thanks for everyone that's asked questions. We've had lots of really good questions. But yeah, come in with some more. I'm going to be probably on here for at least another 10 more minutes of questions.
Oh, sorry, Maddie. I found it. He got charged with drink driving.
Okay, so Joe Linton is out with drink driving. So Isaac could still be a good option this match day. So there you go. Joe Linton is out with drink driving, which is unfortunate for him. But yeah, get your questions in. Let's go through them. I think we'll probably do another 10 minutes on the stream together. So if you've got any questions for Game Week 21, then get them in now. We are 3 hours from deadline. 3 hours from deadline, aren't we? So yeah, and there's obviously Saturday morning over there in England. So everyone is waking up ready to get their transfers in if they haven't done them, or making those, changes to their formation. Jermaine just come in and said, "Hi guys, it's been a while. Hope you are all good." Thanks, mate. Yeah, I'm doing well. And Q, yes, his first time. I think it's the first time we've done a stream together in a while, so it's good to be back. It's great to have Q in here. And he has asked, now that Q mentioned KDB might not play, maybe I'll bring in Salah. Your thoughts, guys? For me, I'd make sure you've got bench coverage. But I'd just still stick with De Bruyne, because you would not want to, you'd not want to transfer him out and then he does actually play, and then, it could be a great game for him. What do you reckon, Q?
Yeah, I think definitely keep him and make sure you obviously have someone that can come in just in case. But yeah, it was more just the captaincy, like whether KDB could be benched or who knows. But yeah, even a bench KDB with 30 minutes in the second half would probably still have more upside than Salah this week.
Yeah, I'd keep De Bruyne if you've got him. I think a lot of people that own him are keeping him, and they're seeing the fact that Spurs, they got dropped against Spurs. They're seeing that more as a rest more than anything. So I guess it's a wait and see. But yeah, I wouldn't do that. At the same time, like, you can always bring De Bruyne out next week for like Bruno Fernandes, and then bring De Bruyne back in the last week, then following week, game week 23, and do that. Martin Watchhorn, which is This Is Wrestling Film. Welcome to the stream, mate. Great to see you in here. I hope you're doing well. I did notice, looking through the mini leagues the other day, your team has been on fire this season by the looks of it. I think you've got pretty high total points, so that's good. It's a great show, gents. Tempted to take a hit to remove Zaha. He always blanks when I have him. For Ward Prowse, thoughts? What do you reckon, Q?
I feel bad for you because you got Ward-Prowse in the start,
I did.
the reboot after the World Cup, and he did nothing, but then looked sensational the other day. So, if you already have Solly March, I don't mind the Ward-Prowse punt. As I said earlier, that it's beginning to get to the point where you need to, take a punt on what you think will be the next sort of point scorer. But yeah, I think if you had to choose between Ward-Prowse and Solly March, I'd go Solly March. But yeah, if you do have him, I don't mind Ward-Prowse.
Okay, yeah. It's hard because I did get burnt by Ward-Prowse. So I had Ward-Prowse. It was the start of the season Q when I did the first wild card, and he got me 7 points on the first game I had him. I thought, this is pretty good. Owning Ward-Prowse is quite fun. Then he went on a run of like no free kicks, nothing. Then post World Cup restart, he's been smashing his free kicks again and he's been getting his goals. The thing about Ward-Prowse, he gets his points in chunks of like 3 or 4 games, free kick, and he has this little period of just scoring a ton of free kicks. So yeah, get him whilst he's hot. I'd still, like you said, I'd still, I know you're probably trying to go looking at player on form like Ward-Prowse, but Solly March is on goal scoring form like you mentioned. He's still low owned as well. You're still going to get enough upside having Solly March. As for removing Zaha, I think it's worth removing him now. Palace aren't scoring enough goals. When Zaha takes pens, he doesn't always score. Palace haven't necessarily at themselves now. I know they got a good draw against United in the week, but yeah, Zaha isn't really that goal threat. I still prefer Solly March. I don't dislike Ward-Prowse as an option, but you are heavily reliant on set pieces, which isn't a bad thing because he's so good at them. But if he doesn't get one in the game, then yeah, he does sit quite deep. So I'd say Solly March, Mitoma are better options. But yeah, great to see you in the stream, mate. And PSB, great to see you, Quinton. He likes the kit. Is there anyone on the back of the kit?
I've got Sancho, who is back this week. He's been seen in training apparently, so I'd say he'd be on the bench this weekend.
Big news having Sancho back.
After his 007 mission secret training camp.
Yeah, no one knows where he's been, so it'll be interesting to see how Sancho does. Keep getting your questions in. We've gone through all the comments now. We've gone through all the questions, which has been awesome. So thanks for getting them in. Ask more. We're looking to be on the stream for at least another 5 minutes. So we want to go through more questions. Get them in there. What we'll do now is we'll go through our captains for our own teams. I know for people that have been here the whole stream, which is quite a few of you. So that's thanks for the support. Know who my captain is. Q, who's your captain for this week?
At the moment, it's on Haaland, but I have the vice captain on Solly March.
Oh, wow. Okay. Are you not tempted to change to Solly March?
No, as you've alluded to in this stream, we've missed out on multiple Haaland hat-tricks, and I'm tipping a nice 3-0 win to City this week. And I think that Haaland's, even though he's been a bit underwhelming, I think that's been more of a victim to how Man City's played the last few weeks. And I think this could be the week that he might only have 30 touches, but 3 of those touches are in the back of the net. So, I can't go against him. And it's one of those weeks where there's not really a standout captain. And then when there's not really a standout captain or standout other captains, especially in my squad, I just go with probably what is the smarter and most obvious choice for my team, which is Haaland. But definitely if I wanted to jump the ranks, I do like Solly March.
No, you're thinking. I think you're right. I'm of the... Obviously, I got burnt so much by Haaland earlier on in the season, but now I'm actually of a point of like, I was probably overthinking it then. I'm just not going to overthink it this week. And I'm quite comfortable having Haaland as captain. My vice captain, let me check my team again, because I can't remember my vice captain. It's probably Harry Kane. But let me just quickly go in and check my vice captain. It is Harry Kane. So Kane's my vice. I'd love to captain Kane. I'm not even sure if I've captained Kane this season. I love him as a Spurs fan and as an FPL player. He's just been so good down the years, Harry Kane. And I've captained him so many times. and had so many hauls from him. And I've just not had him much this season. And I just can't rely on. I can rely on him, but I just can't rely on Spurs. And Haaland, he's going to be my captain, but Kane's my vice. Happy with that. And we did just have this comment from Jacob. Sancho redemption arc incoming.
100%, mate. First stop, Arsenal, mate.
There you go. And Q, what's your I think we all know, but I know anyway. I think the viewers probably know because you may have mentioned it before. But who was your transfer this week?
I got in Solly March, so I took out. Can't remember who I took out now. Give us 2 secs. Yeah, all my transfer in was Solly March this week. I took him out. I took out Sterling. Took out Raheem Sterling because I had him on the bench still. So
okay, so Sterling was injured and Q's done that. I did the same transfer. So me and Q have done the exact same transfer. I've gone Solly March and I took out Mason Mount, and I'm delighted at that. But like I said earlier on in the stream, he'll probably troll me and bang in a 30-yard rocket against Liverpool because he is him and Zaha. And I like Zaha a lot as a player as well. And there's been some times where he's got me some good scores in FPL, but like he feels like an FPL troll this season. So does Mason Mount, and Calvert-Lewin's trolled me so many times down the years as well. Like they're like my 3 FPL trolls that are just like done everything for everyone else's teams and then screwed me over with missed pens or red cards or injuries. But anyway, a couple more comments from PSB. Everything that Q has touched has turned into gold post-World Cup. If he's backing Haaland, I'm captaining Haaland as well. There you go, mate. He is backing you. And he's right. I read this for you. So Q since the World Cup. So if we go into we're a post-World Cup reboot league, Q has had 302 points since game week 17. So we've had game week 17, 18, 19, 20. So Q's had
he's an average of like points. 75 points a week or something like that.
Yeah, so he's had an average of 75.5 points per game week. So yeah, Q's picking well the second half of the season. He's doing really, really well. I'm on a bit less since the restart, 272 points since the restart. 30 points less. But yeah, we'll see how this game week goes. PSV did come in and say Fulham concede most chances down the middle. Kane is an excellent shout. Yeah, he is. I think he scores. I think I said it on Twitter earlier on. He will score in this game. He's got a great record. It's going to be an open game, but the ceiling for Spurs to score big is just it doesn't feel like it's going to happen. So I'd rather captain Haaland, which is sad, like I said earlier, because I would love to captain a Spurs player again. But look, I don't know if we've got any more questions that have come in. We'll give it another couple of minutes, Q, and see if anyone asks any questions for the deadline. We are 2.5 hours now. No, 3.5 hours to deadline.
See, I think
2.5 hours to deadline.
Haaland is... I hate playing... I don't like to play template, like, you know me, Matt.
You hate it, yeah.
The last 2 weeks have gone Rashford, but I just think this could be the game, and I really don't want to miss out on another Haaland haul because, as I said to you, I think I was 5.4 million in week 15, and now I'm 2.4 million. So I feel like if I, and I feel like I don't want to go Haaland just because people are going him. I'm going him because I think he's the best option, at least in my side this week.
I think so.
Week where it's not many.
No, and I think you're right. Like, just Haaland does the job, and then you can hope that your differentials, like your Solly Marches, and your other players get the job done. Look, there hasn't been any other questions, so we will look to wrap up the stream. I will quickly ask Q for his final thoughts on game week 21. Is there anything you want to add, Q, to the game week? If there's anyone out there that is rolling their transfer but would like to do a complete one-off transfer, is there any final thoughts, or maybe two players that aren't Solly March that you would also consider?
I think if you are obviously going to go with Haaland this week as your captain, and you're looking at maybe your team and you don't have enough sort of, I guess, lowly owned plays to make that rank boost, instead of going for a differential captain, I'd maybe bring in like a Jack Harrison or someone like that, someone that's a bit outside the box, because yeah, it's one player, and at worst case scenario, Jack Harrison might get you 2 points, but best case scenario, Leeds continue to create chances, and he could be like a 10-point or a 12-point haul, and you're going to get some nice little rank boosts. Even like a Solly March or Matoma, they're still pretty lowly owned. I think Matoma is 1.4, and I think Solly March is 5.2 or something. So you're still going to get some massive rank boosts if those players do come through this week.
What about for those that maybe have a third striker option? Brennan Johnson, double-digit score for Forest last game week, or last few game weeks. Bournemouth, who I said earlier, very toothless at the moment. Do you think Brennan Johnson could be a shout?
Yeah, I do. I really like him. I liked him at the start of the season. It just, obviously, that hasn't clicked fully for Nottingham Forest, but yeah, definitely he's looked really good, especially when their attack's firing. He's usually involved, and he doesn't have to play up top. He can play out wide as well, so that gives him the opportunity to play full 90 minutes if they do start to sort of bring those subs on.
Takes pens as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's got a decent pen rate as well.
Okay. No, good stuff. All right, look, last comment that come in just from Jacob. Thank you for the stream. Good night from Canada. Enjoy your sleep, mate. Hopefully, by the time he wakes up, we would have had Liverpool-Chelsea. So unless he's waking up for it, unless Jacob's waking up for it, but hopefully he wakes up to loads of game week 21 points. The deadline's only a couple of hours away. Quinton, thanks for jumping into the stream, mate. It's great to have you back on. We'll obviously link up soon. Yeah, better late than never. Let's get your last prediction. Obviously, you're a United fan, so let's get your score prediction from Arsenal versus Manchester United.
My heart's telling me 2-1 to United, but my head's telling me it's going to be 2-2.
2-2. All right, cool. And then I'll give my Fulham versus Spurs prediction. I'll go with 2-2. I think Spurs will be the one scrapping the 2-2, not Fulham. So I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. So thanks, Q, for coming on. At FPL Amateurs of Oz, go and give him a follow on Twitter. He's also now on Instagram, and you can also just put FPL Amateurs of Oz in to Google, and Q's got his website as well, which is absolutely awesome. I'm FPL Matt Day, so you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter as well. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Give the video a like and get your comments in as well. And you can ask myself questions or even Q questions, and we'll jump into the comments all the way up until deadline to help you out with your game week problems. Good luck for game week 21. And we will see you next time. And Q will probably come in and join another one of the streams in the next few weeks as well. So we will both see you more than likely in the next one. See you then. Thanks.